Hey, Trevor, how are you?
Hey, Dave, doing well. How are you?
Good. So this mega snowstorm never appeared, huh?
No, not at least not for us. I mean, a little north and south of us got hit pretty good, but yeah, no, we did not get what they were calling for.
And whatever we got, it didn't stick at all.
No, yeah, well, I mean, even this morning it was about 39, 40 degrees early this morning.
Oh, it was. Yeah, it was 40 this morning.
Yeah.
A high of 42 today here in Liberty Lake. Crazy. We'll get some tonight.
Night, yep, and then they're calling more Wednesday and Thursday. They're calling for another round, but we'll see. We'll see if that actually makes it.
Yep. Almost like a heat wave after what we had last week.
Oh yeah, yep, absolutely.
When your spa steps stick to the ground because of the frost, you know it's cold.
Yes.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Hey, Happy New Year, Mayor.
Hey, does anybody know someone looking for a job? I'm hiring in my private sector job.
I saw that.
Hey, I called Ann Swenson to see if she was interested. Not sure I can talk her into coming out of semi-retirement, though. Hello.
Hey, Lena.
Well, it is 4 o'clock, but we are missing quite a few. Did Jen or Trevor, did you guys hear from any of the commissioners? Tara, Connie, Noreen? Okay.
Trevor, you want to update them on Noreen?
So Noreen actually stepped down this morning from Parks Commission, so she will not be attending. I did not hear anything from Tara or Connie. I've not heard anything from them.
Okay, well, we'll just go ahead and get started with who we have. Welcome to our January Parks and Arts Commission meeting. So first order, right now we're missing Tara, we're missing Connie, we're missing Bob, and we're missing our student
I'll
our
text
student
Bob.
commissioner Shrikar as well. So we'll see if they come on, but if not, that would be unexcused. First order of business is to approve our December 6th meeting minutes. Everybody cover those. The only thing I saw on the meeting minutes was that Connie's last name was spelled wrong, but I don't know if that was the only thing I noticed. Did anyone else have any other changes or comments? Okay. Well, we would just need a motion to approve those.
I so move.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, all in favor of approving the December 6th minutes? If we could just make that one change to Connie's last name, that would be great. All in favor, raise your hands. Okay, so moved. Do we have any citizen comments today?
I did not see any come in, and I'm not seeing any in the chat right now.
Okay. Okay, staff report.
So just a quick little update on the lighting for Rocky. That has been purchased, and Tara is in now. That has been purchased. Hopefully see that come in within the next week or so, obviously with snow and crews being busy with snow removal. We'll get to it as soon as we can, but we'll definitely let you guys know when all those lights are in. And it is, we'll have the option for some color coordination around holidays or whatever it may be, because they are LED color changing. But I think that'll add a nice little touch to the lights, both security wise and then just for around whatever holidays. So I will let you guys know once those are installed.
Really cool. Thanks, Trevor. New business. So it is January, which means we need to make sure that we have voted on chairperson and vice chairperson. I kind of mentioned it at the last meeting that we would need to do that today. So I don't know if you guys have any comments or what you guys are thinking. But we'll open it for discussion and then kind of go from there, I guess. Don't all jump out at once and say you want to do it.
And just if I may interrupt, it looks like Tara has joined us.
Yep.
Okay. Hi, Tara.
Hello.
Hello. We're just talking about chairperson and vice chairperson.
Okay.
I don't think as far as chairperson, vice chairperson, there's any, I don't know, is there any term limits, Jen? I guess not, because David and I have been doing it since the commission started.
No, it's just a vote every 2 years. And if anybody
Okay.
is interested in nominating another person, they can do it that way. Or you can nominate yourself. And once we have a couple of nominees, more than one nominee, or even just one, then you guys can take a vote.
Okay. So I guess first question is anyone interested in any of the positions? Okay. I would be fine being in my position again. David, are you okay being in your position?
Got it. Totally fine with it.
Okay, so I guess if we don't have anyone else that's interested or anyone else that wants to nominate someone else, that could be our option. Okay. All right then. Do we want to vote on just David and I continuing as chairperson and vice chairperson then? Yes.
Good. I'm good.
Okay. All right, we just needed a motion to approve it then.
I move that David Heimbaugh and Lena Schutz repeat as co-chair and chair respectively.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor, raise your hands.
Thank you, guys.
Okay. So moved. Let's do it again. All right. So we have our action items, discussions and presentations. First up is Hooptown. Nancy, you've got a special guest for us today.
Yes, joining us today will be Connor Walsh. He's the project and events manager for Hoopfest, Hooptown USA. As I mentioned at the last meeting, we're continuing to research a community court project for Liberty Lake, and we've identified the double courts at Pavilion Park. And we've had one meeting at City Hall with staff and Connor, and so he is joining us today to tell us a little bit more about the community courts. Connor, welcome.
Thank you, Nancy, and thanks to the commission for having me on the call this afternoon. So I wanted to share a little bit more about our community courts program, then answer any questions that you all might have on your parks moving forward. Trevor, you can go ahead and go to that next slide. Nancy had asked first if I had shared a little bit about what Hooptown USA is. So there's been a little confusion since we launched in 2019 as to what Hooptown USA is, whether it's a separate entity from Hoopfest or what. So I'll give a brief description on that and what we've done thus far with the brand. So Spokane Hoopfest Association is the greater organization, the nonprofit, and Hooptown USA is a brand that we launched that we own under that umbrella. The idea is that we want to use Hooptown USA to brand the city of Spokane, to amplify the love for basketball in the greater Spokane area. And then with that, we laid out 4 initial initiatives tied to the launch back in 2019. So we received $1 million donation from MultiCare Health System back in June of 2019, with the idea that those funds would go towards the 4 initiatives. The first being the new court complex in Riverfront Park that opened this past May. I'll show you a photo of it in a couple slides here if you haven't seen it yet. Another large piece of that is renovating our existing court program or existing court structures throughout Spokane, as well as creating a Hall of Fame, a Hooptown USA Hall of Fame that will have a display just south of the Riverfront Park complex. We will announce our first set of inductees this summer, and then to like physically brand the city Hooptown USA, so that all of those 4 initiatives have been completed, or at least in the process, and should be completed this year. A few delays with COVID, but all those should be completed, and we will continue with the enhancement of the courts, which I'll talk about here next. If you want to go to that next slide. So the community court program started, I think, in the first 5 years of Hoopfest, if not the first year of Hoopfest. So we're building 1 court a year up until the last few years. So we have 35 courts currently. most of them are spread out throughout park courts or parks in Spokane. We also have some in smaller outskirts like Rosalia and Reardon and Fairfield. And so we built those courts. They all have Hoop Fest branding on them. Our board of directors, staff, and volunteers have a net day event where we go around and replace all the nets for the courts throughout our setup there. As I mentioned the last slide, with the Hooptown USA funding, the plan was to build that court complex in Riverfront Park, which is a 2-court setup, as well as enhance or renovate 2 courts a year for 5 years. So we're just finished up the 2nd year of that. And then I just want to note it's been great to be able to use the community courts the last year. During COVID, we were able to use 6 of them for an outdoor league where you see the photos here. We had 75 teams of youth and adults playing outdoors last March when we were first able to play basketball again. So you can head to that next slide there, Trevor. So with the court renovations, we decided to pair art and basketball as opposed to just simply resurfacing them. So what we did was we had our concrete company come in and resurface the top layer. We replaced the backboards and rims. The Peaceful Valley one, those are still old. We've replaced them since that photo. But then we worked with Spokane Arts Commission to hire out artists that first submitted designs, and then there's a process for selecting who would take on those projects. And then so that in that first year in 2020, we resurfaced Chief Gary Park and Peaceful Valley. And if you scroll down there, Trevor, we this past year, so the one on the left there is the Riverfront Park court construction or court complex. We also did Franklin Park in partnership with the Spokane Indians baseball team, the Spokane Tribe of Indians. And then we also have another one that it's not photographed here, Thornton Murphy Park. And then we also resurfaced Corbin Park. So what's ended up happening, we actually did 4 or 5 if you include both Riverfront Park courts. We ended up doing 5 this past season because after our first year of doing it in 2020, we had organizations, businesses that saw what we were doing and wanted to be a part of it. And so that's where the funding from Spokane Tribe of Indians and Spokane Indians, and then we partnered with Nabisco to resurface another court. And then next year we already have, or 2022, we have in line renovation with No Lie for one of our courts at Liberty Park. So we were excited to hear that Liberty Lake was interested in partnering with us for their courts. You guys have great courts. I've checked them out a number of times as we've been just kind of looking at all the court structures that are in the Spokane area, and happy to answer any questions you have, and looking forward to hopefully moving forward with the project starting next year.
And Connor, wouldn't that be a benefit that we've selected the double courts at Pavilion Park for possible clinics or some kind of competition event?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, we've seen just from Riverfront Park, the use of it organically with people. It's crazy how much use that court or those 2 courts had this last summer, especially in the evenings when it was cooler. But we were also able to program it with a summer adult league, and then we also did various kids clinics essentially this summer, and we plan to do the same this year. So I think it's obviously a brand new court structure and surface, but it's, you know, it's awesome to look at and it's a fun experience there. So I think Pavilion Park is a great opportunity to do something similar, and to get more and more use of it.
A question. So as far as the art, would we put out a call to artists and then get submissions that you would help us decide on, or how does that process normally work?
Yeah, so I passed along the contact information to Nancy for Spokane Arts, and they're more than willing to share what that process looked like. So yeah, they had put out a call to artists. There was a committee that was created of a couple people from our organization, a couple of people from the neighborhood, from where these were being renovated, as well as from the Arts Commission, to then vote on those. There was, try to get community feedback along the way of that process as well. But yeah, call to artists was sent out. Any other questions?
Connor,
Thank you.
Connor, I got one quick one for you, just kind of from a maintenance side that would,
Yep.
I think, kind of go along with the commission as well, is as this kind of fades through just wear, and then also just through weather, any repainting or touch up, the courts would remain the same, correct? They wouldn't change as far as colors, design. It would just be redone, the same original artwork.
Yeah, so I think that's something that, so we've already had to deal with that a little bit with Riverfront Park. It wasn't so much maintenance, but it was tagged. So we had extras of each of those colors. And so we had the artists come in and paint over those areas. So we have, thankfully, in this 2-year process, have been able to refine it and have found a product that we think and we believe works best. And that's where you see on these 2 courts. And if you were to look at these 2021 courts compared to the 2020 courts, it would be pretty dramatic. But the idea is that this product is the same product that, or a similar type of product that is used or was used on the Pavilion Park courts. This is called Lake Hold. PlexiPave is another competing brand, but the idea is that these are supposed to, the color is supposed to last 8 to 10 years. I think in terms of the after 8 to 10 years, I think that would be up to you all to determine whether, and you're in the neighborhoods to determine whether you want to do a new design or just paint the same thing over the top. But I think what you would do is it would be brand new, whatever it is. Use all new product over the top after that 10 years, once that surface is kind of worn.
So if I can weigh in, when we had the courts resurfaced a few years ago, industry standard, I was told at that time, was 5 to 7 years on a court before it needs to be replaced. And honestly, from what we've seen, I think it's gonna crack before it's going to fade. And so the cracking is what we're seeing after, I think we had it done 5 years ago at Pavilion and Rocky. They definitely haven't faded, but they have started cracking. So again, we'll probably see the cracking before the fading.
Yeah, and that's what we found with a lot of our courts as well. In talking with Aero Concrete, they've just said that it's best to budget for that crack fill on an annual basis. 1, I guess, for the crack fill, and then 2 for whatever color needs to be painted over the top of that. That'd be something to consider.
So Connor, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, so is this colored concrete or is this just paint?
So this is so PlexiPave or Lake Hold is a sport court finish essentially. So it's a paint, but it has a texture in it so that it
More of a coating.
exactly, coating. Thank you. That's a good phrase. Yeah. So it's over the top of concrete. All of this stuff is concrete or asphalt. It can be done on either one. But yeah, it is like it's a full layer of that coating.
It's the same coating that's being put over the tennis courts and pickleball courts at Orchard Park.
Okay.
Well, my only other question, Connor, was just a kind of a timeline, like when, I know it's next year before we're kind of up for our resurfacing. Do you have an idea on that timeline as far as, when we would start and how long before we get everything approved and ready to go?
Yeah, I would say from the start of the call to artists to completion is probably 6 months or something. So I would think, so we're about to finalize our 2022 plan with Spokane Arts for the 2 courts we have here in Spokane, with the idea that we want them to be finished by the end of June. We want to try to, in experience from the last year, especially try to beat the heat a little bit and really shoot for springtime for the application. So I would think, I think really like trying to do November, December to get that call to artist process going. Because we've also found that with the supply chain issues as we have now, but also just the ordering of the product and the lead time you need on the product, that's a few months out. And so that we've learned that's delayed that process a bit. So I would say, really getting going on this November, December at the latest of the end of this year.
Okay, awesome. Any other questions for Connor?
Well, thanks so much for coming, Connor. We really appreciate it. These are stunning pieces of public art while we're also getting a functional court. So it's a perfect mesh, at least for this commission's interests. So thanks again for coming, and we'll be in touch soon.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. All right, we'll see you.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Thank you, Nancy.
Thanks, Nancy. That was awesome.
So I was thinking that we can put it on the agenda for next meeting, and we can look at setting a date to present to council.
Okay.
As our next step.
Yeah. Sounds good. Next up, Winter Glow wrap up. Tom, do you want to give us a Winter Glow wrap up report?
Well, they're taking things down now and staging things by the containers. And they hope to be finished in maybe another 5 days.
Okay.
But I have not been participating because I've had some health problems, eye problems. So,
Okay.
but I've been staying in contact.
Any vandalism?
No,
You say? Awesome.
no. There
Great.
was some little kids. They were sledding by where the train was, and I think they tore some of the lights down, the rope lights. But other than that, nothing.
No, that's not bad.
No, it's nice to have that here as we, if you think about the one that was up on the South Hill, was only available for what, 4 or 5 days? One or two walkthrough days, and then maybe 5 days driving through, and it was done by the 19th of December, I think. I thought it'd be fun to go up there on New Year's Eve, and I thought, well, I'll check their website, and heck, it's been, it was done 2 weeks ago.
It's been a big success.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if you guys knew, but the Liberty Creek Elementary, they held 2 little holiday concert events. It was kind of last minute planning between me and myself and Jen from Liberty Creek, but they had a very good response, at least from what I heard from their parents, from the families, and they would love to continue doing so at Winter Glow at Orchard Park each year if the weather allows. So that was great to be able to bring those in, and then the couple of fundraisers. So it's starting to build and become more of an event for the city.
Yeah, I was a parent there and thought it was awesome. It was perfect. we got to watch our little kiddos sing outside with their classmates, and the lights were beautiful. We got lots of pictures after. It was perfect. So it was really nice.
And we plan on having it, making it bigger next year. A couple more displays.
How did, any feedback on the food trucks? The food truck that was there, was it well received, well used, or something we want to, that the Winter Glow is looking to do in next year again?
Well, it'd be nice to have a food truck there every weekend, but you know, I don't think that's going to happen, but yeah, but it was received well.
Thanks, Tom.
Yeah. Next up, Liberty Lake Together dedication plaque. Laura, do you have an update on our plaque? We did have our dedication in the very cold weather since our last meeting. So
yeah, just a quick update. So I did talk to Screen Tech. She gave me just kind of a broad range quote. So I have a meeting scheduled with her on Thursday to kind of look at the different materials that are available and what would be recommended. The only question that I had is, we had talked about just putting text on it, and she had mentioned artwork. So I didn't know if we wanted to include an image of the Liberty Lake Together flag, since that was kind of the inspiration for the project. So I can kind of piece that layout together and then have her give me a better quote from it. She only quoted the text. But she said they have a whole catalog and displays, and it was better just to come in person than over the phone or over email. So I'm going to do that Thursday, and we'll have more to report next month in terms of pricing and timing.
okay. Yeah, perfect. I have two. Sorry, my dog. I have a couple things that I didn't get on the agenda just quickly. Over the break, I met with Heather Cronister. She's the art teacher at Ridgeline High, and she had sent me some stuff that they had already done, but it wasn't really stuff I thought we'd want on a utility box. I just went ahead and met with her and shared kind of we've already put on boxes and kind of what looks nice, and shared some stuff from Coeur d'Alene, and she's really excited. She's going to do a project dedicated to artwork for it. So she said she would get working on something with her students, and as they kind of had questions or got an idea in mind, that she would let us know, and then would share progress pictures, and was really excited for it to be a community outreach kind of project. So I think that's going to be a really neat thing for them to work on. So more to come on that. She was getting started as soon as they got back. So we'll see kind of what they come up with. And my other thing I forgot. Oh, we also probably need to start thinking about if we want to start working on some sort of artwork for the overpass. Every time I pass over it, I think, oh gosh, they are actually getting kind of, you know, there's stuff there now. So that's something else to keep in mind, that we need to be thinking about that. And if we need to work on a call to artists or do a workshop to kind of discuss what we think would work, then we should be thinking about that in the next few meetings here. So
I think if I may, depending on where the location of that's going to be, we'll need to have WashDOT weigh in, unless it's at the entrances of the bridge, because WashDOT will actually own that bridge. So if you're gonna do artwork at the entrances of the bridge where we will have landscaping, that will primarily be a city decision, but depending on what the conversation turns out to be, we may need to get WashDOT involved.
Is that where it was originally intended, through WashDOT with their?
Well, the only thing that they had for our consideration was the sides of the bridge with that mountain and trees landscape, if you remember, which I think I mean, that's too late to incorporate on this build. But if you wanted to do a statue or flagpole, or I don't know what, somewhere maybe in the landscape at the approaches of the bridge, then there definitely will be a lot more possibilities in that realm than on the actual bridge itself.
Yeah, we were told that we could put some sort of metal artwork potentially on where we were
Yeah.
going to have the template. It's just,
The emblem or the city emblem or something. So yeah, we will just need to get WashDOT involved in that.
If I recall, and maybe I'm remembering it wrong, didn't someone say when we were discussing it before that if we wanted to add something to the bridge now, it could delay the project?
we would have to do it after, is what that basically came down to. We didn't, unless we wanted the trees and the whatever that was that they offered us, it was always going to have to be something we were going to have to do after the bridge and affix it to it. And it's also something we're going to have to pay for. So those are things to consider. But, you know, it's just, it's an opportunity, whether we decide to do anything or not. It's just something to keep in mind. It seems like it's a big undertaking. So that's why if we need to do a workshop or have a discussion about what we would like to do, then we might want to do that in the next little bit here.
Yeah, I would really vote for a workshop, and then if we could get, you know, some conceptual drawings of the project, so we would know what we were talking about and, you know, look over our budget and that sort of thing.
Do we have the final specs of the bridge that's available to be shared with the group? So
I'm sure the engineer does, and building, the planning department probably does. Yeah, we can probably get those.
Okay. So, is there anything else anyone wanted to discuss?
Yeah, David wanted me to share an update on the story walk, that it's likely going to be put on hold this year, due to the fact that the teachers and the students are kind of scrambling with these challenging past couple of years. So, you know, hopefully the goal would be to shoot for 2023.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, so unfortunately, I saw that email that they do not have a senior class or a class that's willing to take on this project this year. They've got too many other things kind of going on. So our choices would be to postpone it and hope that maybe the following year they would have a student base to work on it, or we look at getting it done somewhere else. We do have that donation from Kiwanis. I don't know that that's going to be there forever. So if we were interested in moving forward without Spokane Valley Tech, that could be an option as well.
Do we know what the cost is doing it without SVT?
I mean, I think when we looked at just certain parts of it before, it's probably going to be about double if we did it through somebody else.
yeah, I recall it being significantly more than the students doing it.
Yeah.
It's kind of nice having the students do it. It kind of seems more meaningful. I'd be maybe inclined to wait, and then when this next school year starts in the fall, they should have an idea as whether they could, you know, potentially do that in early 2023.
Yeah, I agree. I just would hate for us to wait again and then have them come back and tell us they don't want to take it on again. But postponing it just 1 year, I don't think would be the end of the world. We've got a lot of other big projects kind of coming through. So definitely something to keep in mind.
I wonder if the community college has a metal shop that might do a project like that.
Oh. Yeah, I don't, we haven't looked at any other kind of options. It's kind of like that, just the Spokane Valley Tech just kind of came to us. That's not a bad idea.
Well, Ridgeline might have a welding program next year.
Yeah. Yeah, so maybe we could look at some other kind of options as well if Spokane Valley Tech isn't interested in doing it, some other schools. Any other kind of things we need to discuss?
I said a quick update on the other utility box.
Yes.
I did reach out to the Spokane Arts Commission just to see if they had some names of artists within the Native American community that they would want or recommend us working with. And then I also did reach out to the folks doing the Welcome Center there on that corner, because they're doing the Native American theme. And so they have a local artist that is providing a lot of artwork for the building in one option. And I have the artist contact information for that project. Is we could get digital copies of the artwork going in that building and use that to wrap it as well. So I didn't know if you guys wanted to move forward with, I have the draft call I can send out to the group after the meeting to look at, or if we want to try to theme it with what's in the community center. I can work directly with that artist. I just wanted to kind of put it out to the group and see what you guys thought.
You guys have thoughts on that? I think it might be easy just to use the artist that's being used in the Welcome Center instead of doing a whole new call, but
it's definitely easier. And I can send the artist name and website if you guys want to take a look at it. It's certainly not something that has to be decided today, just so you can see some of his samples, but he does bright, vibrant paintings, and I think they'd look fabulous on a box, but I also understand if we want to try to incorporate different artists as well. So,
well, it might be nice to carry the theme of the building to the box out front, basically.
yeah.
yeah. I think that sounds great.
Okay.
It's a lot less work. It'll be.
I know that the lazy part of me is like, oh, take the easy path. So I'll send his name and website, and you guys can take a look and just make sure that you're comfortable. And I did ask if we can get, as the artwork is completed for that building, if we can see it, and then we could decide if we want to purchase the digital rights to it.
Awesome. Yeah, that sounds great, Laura. Thanks.
Okay.
Anything else? Okay, so do we want to set up now a workshop on the Kramer overpass thing, or do we want to kind of wait a little bit? I don't actually know, Jen, what the time frame is for that thing to be done.
You're kind of fading out. I didn't catch that.
Oh, I was just wondering what the time frame for the overpass is to be completed.
I'll have to check with Lisa on that and get back to you. Chris, do you know?
Late fall, if everything goes well. October, November.
Okay. Okay. Do we want to have a workshop soonish? Do we want to wait a little bit? What is everybody thinking?
Are we trying to have the artwork ready when the bridge is opened? Because then I would say soonish to try to accommodate that schedule.
I mean, I think it would be nice, but, you know, and I think it's going to take way longer than we think. So if, in my opinion, if we could have something soon to just kind of talk about what we're thinking, what we're envisioning, and then, you know, if we need to do a call, that's going to take a long time, you know. I don't know, but
Why don't you do like an initial workshop or brainstorming meeting, and I'll invite WashDOT and the city engineer to the meeting so that we can get started on the right path as to what we can and can't do so that we're not left to assumptions. I think that will kick us forward a lot quicker than trying to figure out if we can or we can't.
Okay,
Yeah, and where the artwork will be located, on the inside, like a post walls, or?
Yeah, placement will be key.
okay. So that, what kind of timing would you guys like to do? Our next meeting is February 7th. We could have it be a separate meeting, obviously. We could dedicate part of our next meeting to discussing this. What would you guys prefer?
Could we start a little early and maybe have the workshop before our regular meeting?
How does that timing work for everyone? It's kind of, for some of you, I know it's pickup time for kids. It's,
We could have a separate meeting too, whatever works.
I will just throw it out there to you guys that January 17th is a recognized city holiday, 2 weeks from today.
Martin Luther King, yeah, okay.
I think having a meeting is probably good, and then we can report what was discussed at that meeting as part of the next Parks and Arts meeting.
Okay, so what if Mondays seem to work for everyone? What if we tried for like the 24th of January at 4 to do, would that work? So same time as now, same day, just on the 24th, and then we could dedicate kind of, 30 minutes, an hour to discussing, and then we still could have the next meeting if we needed to just recap for those that can't make it or do any more follow-ups. Yeah?
And I'll
Okay.
confirm with city staff and
Okay.
other and see if that works for them as well.
Okay.
We can
yeah, just
tentatively
let us
shoot
know.
for it. Okay.
Perfect. Okay. All right. Well, if there's nothing else, guys, then we'll see everybody on the 24th of January if that works out. Otherwise, February 7th is our next regular meeting.
Okay.
All right. Meeting adjourned.
Stay warm, everybody.
Happy New
Yeah.
Year.